Hello internets, this is BoneCarlos coming to you live from Shakura's Plateau to bring you another StarCraft 2 cast. The opponents today, players today, are going to be LGRaine spawning as the red Protoss. His opponent is going to be Marshee spawning as the blue Zerg all the way across the map. And this is going to be another Arcasted matchup wrangle type of thing. The player that submitted this was actually Marshee, and already LGRaine is asking if he's in Masters, and I don't believe that Marshee actually responds. When I actually checked out the upload over at dropsc.com, it shows that Marshee is in Diamond while LGRaine is in Bronze. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens out of these two players. We already actually see LGRaine putting down a pylon at actually the forward position. Not a bad positioning, and actually takes care of that entire ramp at the front of the natural expansion. So he's going to be able to forge, fast expand, or do anything else to his heart's content very, very easily. Marshee is just gearing up, droning up, doing the natural thing. Already has 3, and he's actually doing a really good job by rallying those individual cocoons over to those mineral patches of where he wants them to go. So thumbs up for him for doing just a little bit of what a lot of other players just oversee and actually don't do in their own play. LGRaine is already putting down that forge, hanging out, doing his thing, being groovy, groovy, groovy. And like I said, this is Shakura's Plateau. This is a semi-old map. I mean, it's been around for quite a few seasons. I do believe from season 3 or 4. And easy to secure, natural expansion, an average size ramp, and then after that, it's pretty interesting choice to get your third. You could either get this one, which has a nice choke point that goes in directly into that Zelnaga tower, or you could go across the map and grab the natural expansion up to your opposite end of your starting location. This little probe is gonna get nibbled away. The pylon does go down, so nice little block off, but Marshee isn't too worried. He's probably gonna go ahead and scout the forge, fast expand any second now, and just take that third base almost immediately, especially if this pylon actually does finish up and LGRaine completes it. And it looks like it will be completed, only a couple seconds to cancel it, and nope, it's done. It's gonna stay there for quite some time. It's gonna force Marshee to actually use a larva on a couple of Zerglings, maybe even 2 if he so chose. But right now he's actually a little bit supply blocked, but not really. He actually went over and took this third expansion at the opposite side of the map, and this is actually a very interesting choice. He's going to be very vulnerable to drops, especially if LGRaine decides to go quick tech with either Stargate or Robobay. Can do drops, and he looks like Rain actually spots this, scouts it out, knows exactly where it is, so he's going to be very, very secure, and he's actually putting down a pylon already at the top. So if this is unscouted by Marshee, it could cause a bit of a problem, especially if he pushes forward with a mass gate opening, 6, 7, 8 warp gates at around 8 minutes or so, and he pushes forward with his main army that has managed to build up here, and then just warps in a bunch of zealots down here just to take care of this hatchery. It could be actually spelled be quite disastrous for Marshee if he doesn't scout it. So right now his natural expansion already goes up, and everything is being a-okay. And look at this, a photon cannon, great for Rain to actually put this down. This is something that I really didn't even think about. It doesn't cut too much into his build order that much. I mean, he did lose 1 pylon, but that's just a given when you're going to try to do a simple block on your opponent. And this hatchery finishes. Another photon cannon goes down, and Marshee spots this, says, wait a minute, something is amiss. This photon cannon is definitely in range of this hatchery. There is not enough units on the field for Marshee to be able to take care of this. There's currently only 4 Zerglings and a single queen. This photon cannon is actually canceled because it's really not needed. If you know, it's going to be very hard for Marshee to break this. A couple of more Zerglings are actually going to go ahead and push forward. Photon cannon is actually going to be blocked off by these other 2, and this is just a great play by Rain. He blocks off his players. His photon cannon doesn't let a nice surround, keeps that surface area very low, while Marshee actually loses that queen. So that's huge for Marshee's early economic advantage. He's not going to have that larva inject for quite some time, and looks like Marshee's just going to go ahead and abandon this. Already pulling away his drones. He already lost quite a few actually. 6 kills on 7 kills on that photon cannon. I would actually like to see Rain cancel this photon cannon since it's done its job, and it's going to be safe and secure for the time being. And that's just 150 minerals, really wasted in my opinion. Cybernetic score is about 50% of the way done, and back at home, it's just looking like it's hunky-dory. Everything is really just normal and okay. Looking at the workers kill count, only 3 workers were killed. The rest were those 4 Zerglings and that single queen. this hatchery will go down, and right now, LGRaine is in a bit of a pickle. He's pretty much doesn't know exactly where to go. He's teching up to a lair. That's a very interesting choice at the moment. Since you're going to be two-basing him for quite some time, he decides to just go for a two-base tech play. Maybe hopefully he goes into some harassment because that's what he needs to do. Maybe some Mutalisks, some drops. Hell, you could even put a Nidus network right back here. And somehow it looks like Marshee actually is supply blocked because of that. Hatchery did finally go down. A lot of people don't know that your bases actually give you a bit of supply. It's generally a couple of supply per, and that can be very easily overlooked, especially when you lose one early on, especially considering he's going to be a Zerg player. That wall off for Raine is finally finishing up. Robotics facility is just going to go ahead and put there on the front of the base, so it's going to be very easily scoutable by a single Zergling just poking up front, checking out and see exactly what's being built. So hopefully LGRaine puts down those warp prisms, starts that harassment from this end, and pushes forward with his army at the front. So hopefully that's exactly what we see, because I am a little bit biased towards Protoss, and I always love to see when Protoss just beats down on a Zerg player, because that's just how it should happen for every single matchup and every single game. But it looks like Immortals are being produced. It looks like LGRaine just gearing up for some sort of roach play, but at this point he really doesn't need to worry about that. That third was taken down, so no max roach army at 11 to 12 minutes, so he's very safe from that for quite some time. I would actually like to see him expand yet again, because right now he's just sitting there on plenty of harvesters. He has 45 right now. He has nice saturation on his, very good saturation on his natural expansion. He's going to go ahead and put up those two assimilators alongside with it, a decent saturation at his main. So why not expand, especially since you know that the third base for your Zerg opponent is down. A couple of spine crawlers being putting up for defenses. This is a time, generally around the time when you hit with a 6, 7, 8 warp gate push, like I was saying before. But it looks like Marshee is actually gearing up for that. Just now put down a massive amounts of gateways, 3 there, 3 here, that's 6, that is 7, a single robotics facility with that warp prism. So very good play. I hope to see some interesting type play, and the Spire just finishes for Marshee. 9 Mutalisks are being queued up, and in the anti-air department we see 3 sentries, but that's going to change very, very quickly as soon as these warp gates get geared up and start producing those stalkers. But actually pure zealots are being warped in. These simulators were actually a bit late in the build order, so he doesn't have enough gas to start churning out those stalkers. But as soon as this is actually going to be a very interesting play. It looks like Marshee is very well defended. A couple more spine crawlers are there for defense. Those 8 Mutalisks pop, 2 more on the way, so it's probably going to have a total of 10, along with those 10 Zerglings that are going to go ahead and be morphed in. And it looks like the Mutalisks are just going to hang around to fly around and spot this mostly sentry force, and Raine is in a bit of a hurt. Looks like Marshee's going to go ahead and focus down those sentries, gets 2 kills to its name, and now it looks like Marshee's actually in a bit of a pickle. Does he attack? Does he push forward and do his damage that he needs to do, or does he go back home and defend? A single Immortal does get picked off quite easily, since unfortunately Immortals can't shoot up. Raine's response right now is nothing of the sort. He's putting photon cannons here and there, but a single photon cannon up against all of these Mutalisks, not really going to do much. Looking at the workers killed count, we see 1, 4 go down, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that tab, because it pains me to see so many probes being demolished. And at the front, we actually see Marshee is going to go ahead and be well defended. He has plenty of spine crawlers there. Only has actually has 2 Immortals, but a third would have helped very well in that aggressive attack, especially to repel all of those spine crawlers. But now the Mutalisks have paid off for themselves. That final count is 17 workers killed. This Overseer is just going to go ahead and hang out, tank some fire. Free probe kills, why not? Marshee's actually just going to go ahead and teeter around the edges of the base. A couple more stalkers are being warped in with a single photon cannon there for defense. 3 stalkers here are going to go ahead and bounce around the map. That pylon was forced to be put down out of its own misery just so he could get into the base, his own base, to defend. Looks like Zergling's going to stream across the map to go ahead, just poke around and do that damage, and Marshee is doing exactly what he needed to do after losing this third base. He did the harassment, did what he needed to do. He's crawling himself and pulling himself back into the game. The harvester count swings again into his favor, and looking at the units lost tab, we see 27 units lost by Raine. Most of those, 17 of those, are pros. The resource lost tab actually shows that double of those resources are actually in the favor of Marshee. So he's just going to go ahead and hang pretty, hang tight, hang out, and take out all of these buildings here. And now these photon cannons are going to go down there. We are going to get a couple of kills here and there. By the time these actually do go down, a few sentries are warped in, but that is the wrong choice. Force field does whiff the entire area, so that pylon is safe for how long, we don't know. 2 sentries working into that defense, and they are killed very, very quickly. And looking at the units lost, that we see actually that it does actually swing a little bit into the favor again of Raine, but still not enough to tip that resources scale to where we would like to see it if you are rooting for the Protoss, as I am. Photon cannon does go down. This second one will go down very quickly, and now the Mutalisk count is getting dangerously high. At this point, Marshee could actually split these Mutalisk count and split up this pack and attack from different angles, and still had the DPS necessary to take out all of these probes and attack really wherever he needs to do. It looks like a Twilight Cancel is finally being put down, and that's just in response to this aggressive stance that Marshee is using with these Mutalisks, while at the same time he's going to go ahead and take his third, take a fourth. And as soon as the Twilight Cancel goes down, I expect to see Raine put down maybe a Dark Shrine or Templar Archive to get Archons there. But that is just a long time coming, and Marshee is going to go ahead and drone up. Look at the food count, 135 to 111. Raine is currently supply blocked. His max food is right now is 108 compared to Marshee's 198. His third base is just finished up. Burrow is being researched, so if any kind of drops do occur, he could probably drop these drones, since he's doesn't even have a Roach Warren ARP just yet. The Mutalisks continue that harassment, are going to go ahead and take out that Twilight Cancel. Blink is going to be canceled and taking out of the game for quite some time, and Marsh is actually playing very nimbly. He's not committing all of his units to attack, not throwing away unnecessary units, and that's exactly what you want to be doing in this situation. He is just on top of the world right now. Twilight Council is being rebuilt. 18 more Zerglings, 3 more Mutalisks on the way. Looking at the income tab, we see that actually 50 drones by Marshee, so he's been using all of that larva, all of his resources to continue to pull up his army count. So right now he is just a-okay. This robotics facility is actually unpowered for the moment. He's massing up these Zerglings. There are actually no upgrades, actually just 1-1 upgrades, while over in Camp Raine we see 0 across the board. 1-1 Zerglings. Looking at these Mutalisks, 0-2 Mutalisks. So Marshee has the advantage in the upgrades. He doesn't have the tech advantage, I would say, just yet, but the numbers do definitely support and favor him. 61 Zerglings, 31 Mutalisks, 3 Queens, and each on one of these bases, so he is just a-okay. And again, he's going to go ahead and continue poking and prodding and just cutting his opponent tiny bits here and there, and just chipping away at the defenses of the Protoss until it just finally pushes forward with a good 300 food push, and he's getting dangerously close to that at the moment. His resources are quite low, 200 to 300, and that's exactly where he wants to be. That forge actually is taken down very quickly. 3 Stalkers are going to be picked off. No losses on that Mutalisk just yet. He's going to go ahead and fly around, going to try to take out Photon Cannon after Photon Cannon. 2 volleys, they are taken down. He's finally going to go ahead and push forward. All the Photon Cannons are done. Marshee sees that the job is finished, and he's going to go ahead and go home. And what I actually see by Marshee is take these Zerglings and attack here, while the Mutalisks attack here, and that will pretty much be GG, game over. Raine, on the other hand, needs to finish up researching that Blink. Finally, those Zerglings actually do push forward. They're going to go ahead and get a nice surround, hit that surface area that they need to nibble away at these buildings. The warp gate goes down, and it looks like Marshee isn't even worried about losing these low-cost units. Oh, and finally decides to not push forward. He does take out the robotics, but this cybernetic core is still there. He's going to go ahead and focus down this Nexus instead. It will go down very quickly, and at the same time he's going to go ahead and attack in the back with these Mutalisks. Going to try to focus down the main base of Raine, while at the same time microing and dancing around to try to focus it down. It does go down. It is over. He pulls on back, and now Raine is baseless. He doesn't have a main base. He doesn't have the natural expansion. He doesn't even have enough resources to put up another base, so he just needs to warp in units and head home. Look at that quote-unquote smart blink put into effect. Raine's base has not been rebuilt. Everything is being revealed. Push forward, Raine. You cannot win in a straight-up fight at the moment. He's just going to go ahead and chase away these Mutalisks right now. I actually like to see him push forward and just go for it at the moment, because that's his only play that he has available. He can't rebuild his base. Warp in a few more Zealots, maybe a sentry or two, and just push forward and go home. Baneling's there, mines are set, so this central area is going to be very dangerous for Raine if he decides to push out there, especially since there aren't any observers on the field. That robotics facility was just used purely for those immortals and was taken down fairly quickly after that supply block happened. And speaking of supply blocks, LGRaine is not warping in anything since he is supply block. A single pylon will put him up to about 120 over 114 or under 114, and Marshee is just in the lead right now. He's macroing up. He hasn't built any sort of drones just yet, but he's going to go ahead and take out that Cybernetic score. Another couple of pylons are going to go down, and now the Protoss army is just hanging out. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know where to go, and I just do not see Raine winning this after losing all of this. He does blink forward, try to take down a couple of more Mutalisks, but again, Marshee wants to keep his losses to a minimum. There is 99 units lost by Raine, 98 by Marshee, but the resource count is nearly double in the favor of Marshee. And this is just pretty much where Raine needs to push out and just hope for the best. He isn't going to win this. He's not going to win this by sitting back at home, and Marshee doesn't think he has the tech advantage to be able to finish him off completely. Another building forward does take care of one or two Mutalisks, but still at the sacrificing of that pylon. And at the same time, we see a couple more units being streamed across the field. More Mutalisks are going to go ahead and join the original flock. And finally, Raine decides to push out into that. Blinks on top of that Baneling mine, and they unburrow, take out half of the army. The other half is completely destroyed. Raine has egg on his face. Along with that, Baneling goo leaves the game without a GG. So that was it for this game. Very interesting choice. Raine had the early advantage, but just was overwhelmed by the macro that Marshee was able to pull out of his sleeve. And that is it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If not, leave comments down below on what I could do to make these more enjoyable for you. Or if you want me to cast one of your own games, leave a link to one of the major replay sites. I'll be more than happy to take care of it. I'm going to go play Risk now, guys. Later.